Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Allah Akbar. La ilaha illallah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. Ahmaduhu wa asta'inuhu wa astadihi wa astaghfiruhu wa umminu bihi jalla wa ala wa la akfuruhu wa ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu arsalahu bil huda wa din al-haq liyadhhiruhu ala ad-din kullihi wallahu karihal mushrikun. All praise belongs to Allah. We praise Him, we seek His help, His assistance, and His guidance. We believe in Him and do not disbelieve in Him. I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is His servant and messenger. Allah sent him, that is Muhammad, with Deen al-Haq, the religion, the way, the methodology of truth. This way of life known as Islam will rise to its proper position in this world, whether the mushriks like it or not. Amma ba'd fa inna asdiqal hadith kitabullah wa awtaqa al-ura kalimatul taqwa wa khayrul milali milatu Ibrahim wa khayrul sunani sunatu Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam wa ashraful hadith dhikrullah wa asanu al-kasasi hadha al-Quran wa khayrul umuri awazzimuha wa shayrul umuri muhtatatuha wa asanu al-hajju hajju al-anbiya wa ashraful maut katlu shuhada wa amma al-amma dalalatul ba'da al-huda wa khayrul ammali ma nafa'a wa shayrul amma al-kalb. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said the most truthful of discourses is the book of Allah. The most trustworthy word is taqwa, or fear of Allah. The best of the community is the community of Prophet Ibrahim. The best way of life is the sunnah of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. The remembrance of Allah is the most glorious of all things. The best of all narrations is Quran. The best acts are those requiring the highest degree of will and determination. The worst acts are those based on innovation. The best way of life is the one adopted by the prophets of Allah. The most glorious death is the death of the martyr. The most wretched blindness consists of going astray after finding the right way. The best of acts is the ones that yield benefits. Best guidance is that which people may be able to follow. The worst blindness is the blindness of the heart. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Inna Allaha yahmaru bil adli wal ihsani wa ita'i dil qurba wa yanha anil fashai wal munkari wal bagi ya'itukum la'alakum tadhakkarun. Allah commands justice and the doing of good and liberality to kith and kin. He forbids all shameful deeds and injustice and rebellion. He instructs you that you may receive admonition. فَمَنْ يَرِيدِ اللَّهُ أَنْ يَهْدِيَهُ يَشْرَحْ صَدْرَهُ لِلْإِسْلَامِ. Those whom Allah in His plan willeth to guide, He opens their breasts to Islam. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ مُسْلِمُونَ. O you believe, fear Allah as He should be feared, and do not die except in a state of Islam. وَتَسِمُوا بِحَبْلِ اللَّهِ جَمِيعًا وَلَا تَفَرَّقُوا. And hold fast altogether by the rope which Allah stretches out for you, and be not divided amongst yourselves. كُنْتُمْ خَيْرَ أُمَّةٍ أُخْرِجَتْ لِلنَّاسِ تَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ وَتُؤْمِنُونَ بِاللَّهِ. You are the best peoples ever raised up for mankind, enjoining what is right, forbidding what is wrong, and believing in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أَقُولُ قَوْلِي هَذَا وَأَسْتَغْفِرُ اللَّهَ لِي وَلَكُمْ. It's a little hot. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalamu ala khairil mursaleen. Muhammadin an-Nabi al-Ummi. Wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. Yaqulu Allahu ta'ala fil Quran al-Kareem. Inna Allaha wa malaikatuhu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu. Salu alayhi wassalimu tasliman. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Maulana Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Dear believers, this is, of course, the month of February, Black History Month, and we'll be dealing with a lot of the subjects of Black history during this period, and how it affects and we affect, and how all of this environmental circumstances is affecting the Black community. But before we get to that, in Sunday's program, we want to talk about Islamic revolution and its thriving, its survival, and just reality. Because, see, a little over 40 years ago, we was thinking about Islamic revolution. This was what people, that was the goal of some of our leaders at that time. In fact, all of the Islamic movements, there were really movements, Ikhwan al-Muslimin and others, they were thinking about Islamic revolution and how it would happen, the process. They had some that had been through several changes, like Ikhwan al-Muslimin, and at that time, they was beaten down a lot, because in the 50s, Abdul Nasser over in Egypt came down on Ikhwan and really hurt the community bad. And it took way up into the 60s for them to even get a foot on the ground. I mean, many of them were in exile everywhere from Australia to America to Said Qutb, remember, was over here. He went to school in Colorado in the 50s. So though our dictators were very serious about getting rid of us and having a national, actually a personal revolution. They wanted personal power. They didn't want to even share it with nobody. I mean, most of the dictators, that's what they were, dictators. And so coming up under that environment, during the 80s, late 70s and early 80s, we were looking for people like Maulana Maududi. He wrote a book years before that called survivalist, not survivalist movement, but it was about the revivalist movement in Islam. It had people in there, and they were called mujaddids. Now, around the same time, I had given a lecture. I read the book. I gave a lecture at the penitentiary in Leavenworth in late 76. And it was about mujaddids. I had read the book, and our leader at that time called himself the mujaddid. And when I read what a mujaddid would do according to the Islamic profile, hey man, I was shocked. And our personality was actually doing that. He was actually reviving, renewing, and restoring and purifying, cleaning. Tajdeed, jadid in Arabic means new. So the work of Islamic revival, the work of Islamic renewal, technically by the name Imam Warathuddin Muhammad was doing that because we had been in strict jahiliyyah before. I mean, maximum jahiliyyah. If the student enrollment said, who is the original man? The original man is the Asiatic black man, the maker, the owner, creamer of the planet Earth, father of civilization, and God of the universe. Now, that's so insane. The Negroes that recite that, Allah may have so much mercy on them for being so crazy. The Asiatic black man, not Allah, not that mystical reality out there that controls and manages everything, but the Asiatic black man. That means we was born not in necessarily Africa, but we were technically Asiatic. That means everybody over that way. And we were the cream of the crop. And we had all kind of good things, Even in the old days, we didn't have nappy hair like we have now. We used to have hair like on our eyelashes. But we went back into the jungle, and after 50,000 years in the jungle, and then Dr. all them people, it kind of messed us up. So we had to suffer through this nappy hair. Anyway, so you could imagine during this period comes Imam Warathuddin Muhammad to straighten all of that out. And he did. Whatever you say about him, he did a wonderful job of bringing us back to Islam. Ritual Islam, not maybe political Islam. But what do you want from somebody? You want a perfect human being? A mujaddid don't mean he come back and he just jump on everything, and he's not a prophet. He's not none of those things. He's not one of those personalities. His job is to make things new again. His job is to revive that old spirit of true Islam. His job is to develop an educational system that will prepare people to become the Khalifa on earth. His job is to prepare the people where they can worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala properly, right? He don't have to be perfect. Tajdeed means to clean things up, to polish it up, and jadid means new, to make things new again. So he would take that Islam that we have that's been corrupted and misfocused and all kind of stuff, right? and clean it up. And for us in North America, that's what Imam Muhammad Muhammad did. During that period, another person surprised the world and popped up. And that's the subject for today. It was Ruhollah Musavi al-Khomeini, Imam Khomeini. Now, a lot of people go run and hide, and they don't. See, we have the 10 days of dawn celebration in Iran. That means Imam Khomeini came there back after being kicked out for a long time. He came back on the 1st of February, and on the 11th of February, we have the total celebration. And in between that period, it's called the 10 days of dawn, Fajr wal As from the Quran. That 10 days of celebrations, lectures, and talks, thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is, February 4th or something? So this is about the 4th day and the 10th day of dawn. And we're going to talk about the greatest transformation in our time. That's the Islamic Revolution in Iran. I mean, I'm telling you, that's real Islamic revival. And there's a hadith that comes to mind. We use it during the chief's time too. It is reported that the Messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, Allah will raise for this ummah at the head of every century a man who will renew or revive for its religion. That's a good hadith. It's in Abu Dawood, and this would be the person with the name of Mujaddid. One that, like a Muslim, is one that practices Islam. A Mujaddid is one that makes things new, cleans it up, purifies it, scrapes all accumulated dust and crust and corrosion that have accumulated over the years. That's what a Mujaddid does. A Mujaddid is not a prophet. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is Khatam al-Nabiyyin, seal of the prophets. Nothing coming after that. He's kafata and lil nas, the messenger to the people, all the people. Now, a Mujaddid is not a prophet, but a Mujaddid comes and renews, revives, and purifies the religion and kind of make it brand new, like it Tajdeed, Mujaddid, make things new. Bring it back to kind of like it was when Allah and His Messenger gave it to us. All right. Now, Maulana Maududi, who was considered a Mujaddid also, wouldn't say it in words, but the Arabs thought it, and definitely we thought he was kind of a Mujaddid. He passed in 1980, and he was from Pakistan, and he was the head of Jamaat Islami. When he came here in 1973, he spent time with the Negro community. In fact, most of the people was from here in Washington, D.C. And he told his people that were coming over here, when you go to America, you get with the African American. And for years they did. Some of them still do. Ikna and all those people, that's Maulana Maud, a derivative from his community. But now, I want to talk about this Mujaddid of our time, the revolutionary of our time. That's Imam Khomeini, to tell you the truth. And I would just say simply that there's an old criteria for greatness, and that is about greatness of purpose, smallness of means, this is what great, and astounding results. So a person that you wanted to kind of cheer on and be happy about was the one that had a great purpose in life And for a Muslim, it would be, during those days and now, to reestablish Islam as close to the way it was when we got it. So, greatness of purpose, smallness of means. Maybe when you think about Imam Khomeini, he didn't have an army, he didn't have an air force, he didn't have nothing like that. And then astounding results. We are here today witnessing the same thing that Maulana Maududi listed as one of the big questions. If there was a new Islamic State, could it survive the onslaught of Jahiliyyah? What's the onslaught of Jahiliyyah? If you come up and start talking about truth, all of the liars are going to come out to finish you off, right? So why do you think that everything that's going on now, why is, no matter what happens in the world, it's Iran's fault? Why has it been an Islamic State? Like I say, this is a celebration of the anniversary. 43 years, there has never been a day or a week or a month or a year when that Islamic Republic, right, has had any peace or tranquility. And when anybody thinks about the Islamic Republic, non-believers or even believers, they think about it as a place of fitna. And the people starting all the fitna, like Saudi Arabia, they think they're all right. Like, just look at the news. We just killed a big terrorist. I forget what his name is. What about Baghdadi? What about all those Osama bin Laden? You couldn't even see Osama bin Laden's face. Tell the truth. They had him watching TV, remember that? And you can see the back of his head. And they made a few mistakes showing his face a couple of times, and it didn't fit. You just move it over on top of his head, didn't fit. So whoever they killed in Abbottabad, wherever it was not Osama bin Laden. But they put all the evil in the world on Osama bin Laden. At other times, they put all the evils in the world on Saddam Hussein. Right? When he was fighting for the U.S. and the Zionists and everything, he's the nicest guy in the world. They gave him all kind of everything, all the food he needed to eat. They gave him satellite imagery. This is back in the 80s. Everything he needed because he was fighting Iran. So they loved Saddam Hussein. And then when they want to go to war, I'll be brief, but here's what happened. Saddam Hussein got a big army from fighting the Iranians, and they can hold a while. They've been fighting a long time, and they get grit in them. It don't make no difference whether you were scared or not. When you fight for 8 years, right, you don't get no time off or nothing. You can fight a long time. The Zionists didn't like that. So in 1981, the Zionists did two things. They flew over and blew up Saddam Hussein's nuclear weapons facilities, right? But the Americans, British, the French, I'm telling you, they had French Exocet missiles. They even had Soviet tanks, T-54, T-72 tanks. They had everything. They had Egyptian pilots, right? They had Sudanese mercenaries. They had everybody in the world fighting along with Saddam Hussein, Egyptian engineers, Egyptian technicians, Jordanian regulars, everybody was with Saddam Hussein. Saddam Hussein was with America. But with all of that help, when that war was over, the Zionists looked around and said, there's a big army there, and they got all that stuff, and we're not comfortable with that. Gulf War in 91 came in and just destroyed poor Saddam and killed all them people. That wasn't enough. They came back 2003 and destroyed it, to like now. No infrastructure, no fresh water, no nothing. And weapons of mass destruction, which they couldn't find. But remember, these are the big shayateen. They can say anything they want. Like now, the Russians is bad and they're on the border. And the Russians said, this people is crazy. The people in Ukraine is telling them, ain't nobody bothering us, right? That's what they say. If you listen to other news, you listen to the one group of people, oh, this is bad. But if you listen to RT and others on the radio, they're saying something different, right? So, and the people that they interview, you interview them, one group, it's terrible what that man was going to blow up and kill everybody. And that man couldn't blow nobody up, couldn't do nothing to nobody. And they roll in every time, oh, well, we had to kill him. And oh, no, he killed himself. And no, they just be lying, right? They're lying and they destroy. Every time they go in, you're going to see 5, 10, 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 children going to get blasted, right? Every time they come around us. Now, we're living here in a period of time where we can take that or we can say, no, we're not going to take it. Now and you can see in here now, we're not putting up with it, nor have we ever put up with it. Now, back to Imam Khomeini and the Islamic Revolution. That revolution has been here for 43 years. This is the anniversary. It was never expected. So if you take Imam Khomeini and you put him on the Western scheme of greatness, greatness of purpose, smallness of means, and astounding results. Greatness of purpose to establish the first Islamic revolution when everybody then failed for 1,000 years. They failed. They hadn't had the caliphate. That lasted 500 years, but it was periods of good, periods. But an Islamic revolution in modern times, nobody even thought it was possible. They did it, and not only did they do it, greatness of purpose, to establish Deen al-Haq on this planet, right now. Smallness of means. Saddam might have had everything to fight against Iran. Iran didn't have nothing. And it held out them 8 years. 1 million people dead. Hey, man, that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And the students here running around in America talking about Magbag America, death to America. I used to tell them because I'd be out there with them and going all over the country. And I have a right to talk about this because I've been close to this for the last 43 years. Very close to it. There's nobody in America been any closer to that revolution than right here. That's just the way it is. So therefore, we've been studying it all the time. Greatness of purpose, smallness of means. That means you don't have nothing but astounding results. That's what the revolution come from. Imam Khomeini was isolated and cut off. He was in Najaf in Karbala in Iraq. And his book on Islamic revolution was listed in Kutub ad-Dalala, misguided books. That means the Shia was against him. Everybody at Shia headquarters was against Imam Khomeini, was against the revolution. There's still not all, but there's still a big crew running around right today, anti-Walayati Faqih, and they're not here. All the Shias in this area used to be right here. They out somewhere else. Because the Shias bought them a place out of town so they wouldn't come here. They wouldn't have to come here. That's why they out there, right? Negroes. They was right here. Why did the Iranians want them out there? So they could pump them up on anti-walayati faqih fitna. We'll get into what that means later or at another time. But against solid leadership, walayati faqih, the leadership or the rulership of the just or the good Islamic leader, walaya faqih, the leadership of a just jurisprudence. That's what it technically means. And that's what we're here talking about today. And was that revolution successful? Right now, there's tragedy happening in the Muslim world. And everywhere it's going on, it's related to the Islamic Revolution in Iran. So if you have Syria that's been almost wiped off the map, but is still here, is because during this war with Iraq, those 8 years, there was no Arab country in the world that supported Iran except one, Syria. Anybody remember that? Syria stayed with them. They were the only one that didn't join in a cabal to fight against Iran. So when Syria started having all this trouble a little while ago, Iran came in to help, pulled them out of the fire, and saved them from destruction. And then the Daesh and all of those people, right, created by the Americans. See, let me put it this way. When you see on TV any bad people that hates the world, the Saudi Arabia invented them people and support them. All the bad guys you hear about TV today, every last one of them, they don't come from Iran. They don't come from Iraq. They come from Saudi Arabia. In fact, what do? I don't care whether it's in Africa, Boko Haram, and all of that, all those people that fight against Muslim progress in Africa and Asia, in the Middle East, have all been funded by Saudi Arabia as three main enemies of the Muslims today. The Zionist state of Israel, the United States government, the big flunky, and Saudi Arabia. Right? So if you go to and you see Yemen, what do you see in Yemen? You will see the poorest Arab country in the world being assaulted by the richest Arab country in the world. And they're all Muslims. Right? If you look for anything stupid happen in the world and there's no explanation, nobody could leave America after 9/11. But who? Let's think about it. Who could leave? Does anybody know? Anybody know? Saudi Arabia. Wait just a minute. Why? If the people supposedly came from Saudi Arabia that did it, you let the Saudis go. Something was missing. Forget about them 28 pages. Forget about it being a martyrdom mission. A martyrdom mission, them bums in San Diego out getting lap dances. Does that sound like an Islamic personality? He's going to be martyred tomorrow, and he knows it, and he's out lap dancing with white women at night, the night before. No, if he was a Muslim, he would be in salat, he would be in dhikr, all of that. Isn't that right? That's what they'd be doing. But see, the Europeans don't know any better, and the Muslims don't care. Now, that's where we come in. You say, well, what in the world can you do about it? Well, this is our time. We was in there all them years, and now we back again. When they talk about Masjid al-Islam strikes back, that's where we're headed. Whether they like it or not, that's where we're headed today. That's where we're headed in the near future. And it ain't no like, oh, this is a big deal. No, it's not. I'm telling you. We have already survived literally everything the boss man can do. Y'all remember this psychological guerrilla warfare? Psychological guerrilla warfare. So the Europeans, I have one of the best books on guerrilla warfare in the world. I didn't know. I just looked down there on the thing. Somebody had brought it and said it there. I mean, the whole history is this thick. I think I might have showed that. This has all the guerrilla warfares from the Peloponnesian War up to the Vietnam War, because it came out in 75. I mean, in detail. If you want to find out exactly what happened between Scotland and England and Braveheart, guess what? You read it there, and it has exactly the script. If you saw the whole movie in 2 pages, you had that whole script right there in that book. And they put it down there for us to read. Why? Because they wanted us to be stupid. They wanted us to launch a guerrilla war in America. Yeah, that's what they want us to do. Now, where are you going to hide a guerrilla war? You going to hide with your cousin, Johnny Boy, somebody, the Negro? Why, they got so many tattletales. If you even sneeze too loud, you'll be in the penitentiary or you'll get burned. You know, especially if it's the LA police, they like burning niggas alive. You know, they do that. The police that had it out with them some years ago, what do? They get them in a cabin, burn them alive, right? What happened to the Islamic movements? Not the Islamic movements, the black movements in LA. What happened to the Symbionese Liberation Army in 75 in LA? Burned them alive. That's LA for you. They don't play. They burn your behind alive. Now, they wanted us to come out with a physical guerrilla warfare in America because they said them niggas are serious. They know that they're serious. Tried, tested everything. Can't get him on girls, can't get him on money, can't get him on nothing. Every piece of bait we sling out there, he just walks right past like he never saw it. Can't scare him. So, what did we do? We ho-hum with boss man. We said, oh, boss man, let's have a little fun. And let's make this psychological stuff. Instead of all that physical, burning up people and blowing up people. Boss man accepted. That's where psychological guerrilla warfare comes from. If anyone read any of the things in the early 2000s about guerrilla warfare, we changed it to psychological guerrilla warfare. That our fight will be warfare, but it'll be psychological, not physical. See what I mean? Boss man accepted. Boss man's usually used to scaring everybody to death. And he had you so well surrounded that everybody you talk to is the police. So he figured, I can't lose. That's what boss man was thinking. So since we already know that, we just got busy having a good time. I tell you the truth, we're here today, but we're so happy to be here because of longevity, but we slapped the urine out of boss man's behind, his little thing he got, and upside the head. We have whipped the stew out of boss man. Right here, yeah. You say, well, there ain't nobody here. There don't need to be nobody here. You don't need nobody. If you're psychological guerrilla warfare, all you need is one person that know how to do it, right? Or got the courage to give it a try. Or have the experience to know which thing to apply at what time. Psychological guerrilla warfare. I'm just telling, I might as well, everybody already know it. We have done that already. This is not something we want to do. We have already done it. It's like walking up to boss man, I've said this many times, and telling them, boss man, take that pistol out of your thing, stick it up to your head, and blow your brains out. And that's what he do. Why? Because he's not paying attention. He thinking you like all other Negroes when you done studied the Negroes. You done studied him. You have expectations. You expect certain things out of him. He expects certain things out of you. The only thing is, you know it. And he thinks he knows it. And that's all you need. And that's why we've been successful. That's why with Allah's help, this is a new stage. And it come at this time. This is a winter offensive, not a summer offensive. Why is it a winter offensive? Because all of this stuff is coming up. And we have time to prepare stage by stage for what we want to do. Let me speed up a little bit. Remember our enemy, American Zionists and Saudis. And we don't fall for fighting wars that they designed for us. If you notice Hezbollah a couple of months ago, the Phalange, or one of those groups in Lebanon, assassinated openly 2 members of Hezbollah. They said, it's all right. They didn't do nothing. Does anybody remember that? They didn't do nothing. They didn't do nothing. Till late time. Why? Because they're the main enemies of the Zionists. They whooped the Zionists so bad that, see, they saving all of their energy for the enemy. That's our friends, right? That's our friends. We had to tell Hezbollah to stop. We was over on 8th Street. You got to stop sending us letters talking about how much great friends we are. They were sending them. I think I read some of them at Jum'ah 20-something years. Our homeboys, because we would go to programs around the world, and we was all on the same page. If we was at a program, and Sheikh Fadlala would be sitting there giving a talk, everybody, his guards would be looking at me, giving me that, hey, how's it going? That's my homeboy there. You know, that stuff. The government of the United States knows it. So we're not punching above our weight. We're punching at the weight we're supposed to be punching at. We're punching at boss man because someone in America, in the West, have to go against the Zionists. Now, we've been taking the rest. I'll tell you the truth. Sometimes, if you don't know yourself, you'll just be running straight ahead. But if you know yourself and your environment, you'll wait till you get ready. We're ready now. We're ready, and it doesn't make any difference what, let me put this so everybody understands. It doesn't make no difference what nobody do. What you do as an individual, what they do, this thing is almost as done as all the other stuff. It's that time in history. So we want everybody to help, but if you don't help, get yourself plenty of rest. Get yourself plenty of rest. I'm not going to talk crazy like, I don't need it. We don't need it. No, it's not that way. The more you help, the better it is. The more everybody help. The more in line. There's so many snitches and died on the vine and waiting on us to quit or collapse, disappear. It's so many tattletales, which some of them y'all know and have seen on a regular basis, that die on the vine. They don't have what it takes. This is not, let me regress a second. We've had many people in our history. This is Black History Month. We've had people like Marcus Garvey. They let him develop a movement in the 20s of 3 million people. He had boats going all over. But he wasn't up on what we own. You know why? That was a newspaper article in 1940, came out of London somewhere. It says Marcus Garvey died. You know what happened the next day? Anybody know? He died. He didn't have that psychological guerrilla warfare. See, they didn't have it. Malcolm X. Anybody ever see Malcolm at the window with a rifle? You know what I mean? Like he's going to protect us. You ain't never seen us with one. But we done got busted upside the head and everything by the enemies of Islam. Why? Because we not fighting that way. We doing like Hezbollah, or let's put it correctly, Hezbollah is doing like us. Because see, we're here in America. And just like in the past, nobody expected a revolution to happen, especially in Iran. You know the best friend of America in those days was Iran. They had nude up on the Caspian Sea. They had nude beach parties in Iran. 2-3 days before the revolution. Not 2-3 days, but you know what I mean, during that period. And this is where the revolution happened. And not only that, just like we have survived, it's different for them to survive over there because they have their own land, their own territory, and they're doing a wonderful job. Nobody has to tell me about they're not perfect in this. They don't have to be perfect, right? They're still here, and they have they support the people of Yemen. Isn't that right? That's what they do. They get along with the people in Central Asia and Pakistan and all of that. They get along with them. Right? So, we're here. One of the big guys in Iran, he was over, he said, Brother Faoud, he said, it's all right for us to talk this way, but Imam Musa is in America. He's in America saying that. He had been here, he went to school here, and he knew what it meant. And when he went back home, he really realized, man, he had a big job and a big media person. He said, man, that guy is in America saying and doing what he says. And then a lot of them be hooked up in little things because remember, a lot of the people in the revolution, when the revolution flipped over, the stooges, the snitches that was still here, that was here for the Shah, they joined Savak joined the FBI. So that means that tons of people here, Iranians, are the police. Why you don't think you see nothing but Iranians coming through here? Where they at now? They won't touch it. Who told them to do that? Their leaders their tattletale stooges is here right now. So don't say, oh, see, you got them as friends. Nobody is coming out of the woodwork right now. Well, then why are we so energetic? Because of history, because of the trends of history, because of things you talk about and think about, the things that you've witnessed, you get a taste for it. This is our time, believers. Join up. Boss man is not going to be here but another 2-3 minutes. Don't make no difference whether he want to be here or not. Okay. As-Sabiqun movement. So our vision is very, very close to Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui. Now, you know what I'm telling y'all, when we was at our last big program, creating the new global civilization of Islam in 96, do you know Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, who was technically Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui started the Islamic Institute in London. What happened was, after the war of 71 and what have you, after the war of 71, when India and Pakistan, had a fight, they technically was so brokenhearted when East Pakistan broke away from what was West Pakistan at that time, and it became Bangladesh. They were so brokenhearted they opened a place called the Muslim Institute in London. But as it changed, they changed to Islamic Institute. Those were some of the biggest scholars, and Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, read his books, you could tell he was big in Islam. And what did he tell the people? Y'all saw it on a video. What did he tell everybody in South Africa at that last conference? The doctor told him in 96, if you go down to South Africa, you're not going to come back to London. And he didn't. But technically, he was our leader. All the books on the Islamic movement and what to do, we used to talk about it a lot. And guess what? Y'all seen it on tape. What he said about me as a person, everybody knew that was signaling them to do something. Why they didn't do it? Because they was not with him. Everybody identifies the good leader. And what do? Surround them with tattletales, right? Surround us, that's the way it goes. So Dr. Kaleem Siddiqui, that great institution, Majlis Ashura Islamiyya, Free Britannica, the Islamic Parliament in Great Britain, right? Collected and distributed zakat, did all kind of for Bosnia and all that in those days. The people walked away from it and let it go down. No, they planned for it to go down. They planned for us to go down with it, but we still here. I'm just telling you, we feel that this thing is going all the way. And if it don't go, this is far enough. Is happy with this. Longevity, they got Malcolm them right away. They got King them right away. Right? That means they didn't get a chance to fulfill their vision. This is 50 years after that. And people tell her, well, gee, you not nothing like them. I said, let me tell you something. You can be stupid if you want. But if Martin Luther King and Malcolm X would have used Booker T. Washington's program, where would they have gotten? Right? 1915, Booker T. Washington dies, right? 50 years later, are you supposed to use Booker T. Washington's platform? Right? It's insanity. The people say we've been talking about for 20 years, beyond Malcolm. It's 50 years, it's more than that. It's almost 55 years since Malcolm has been passed away. And it's 3 years later, Martin Luther King. So suppose we use the same. Don't you see the media? The dream. Martin Luther King had a dream, right? And that's all you see. You don't want to hear. They don't teach you nothing else. They don't teach you about no evolution. Well, if the animals evolve in the jungle, what about the movement? Remember the Islamic movement? What did we tell them all a few years back? Ikhwan and all of them. And they said, he talks too much. He's not sophisticated. They got to do it like us. What do? They went to Obama and told him, Obama, we good old Muslims, and we know your name is Barack Hussein Obama, the police. And could we do a few things? Why, sure you can. We're not against he went to Cairo, told all them dummies. Why, we're with you. Heck. Islam is land of the free. America's land of the free and home of the brave. The proof of it is, look at me, I'm all black. He didn't tell him a coon or nothing like that, but that's what he meant. He should have meant that. And what happened? Ikhwan, our friends right around here, I'm not going to point out where they at. Boss man come down and swatted them like fry. Isn't that true? We told him, don't do that with boss. You're just an angry African American. I said, it's not that I'm angry or nothing, but I mean, I just been here a while. Get a look at boss man. He ain't that nice a fella. And now the Zionist is here with him, telling him what to do. And your Equanies and all them, and every group we establish, is the head of them, all of them is the police. It's been like that. It's not like that for Muslims. So Uncle Jesse, Uncle Messy Jesse, we used to call him. And now it's old Sharp and all them coons. You ought to hear some of the tapes we got on them people, how crooked they are. They're crookeder than you think they are. And the old Negro now, the old lawyer, I don't think he can speak good. He the old, I told you. Y'all know the lawyer, the Negro lawyer that's getting all them cases now? I'm telling you, the nigga can't talk. I'm not against him, nothing like that. He can't speak English. I tell we tell that to them, and we're going to try to do better, and we don't like that. Isn't that the way he talks? I'm not exactly like that, but it might as well be. Anyway, let me speed up here. I know we're covering a lot of ground. Islamic revolution, Islamic revival, tajdeed, cleanliness and purification. Tajdeed, that's where the mujaddid comes from that. Tajdeed in Arabic is new, right? So tajdeed is when you revive things or clean it up or make it new. This is what a mujaddid would do. And Allah said he will send at the head of every century, this is in Abu Dawood, someone who will revive, restore, and renew, clean up your religion for you. All right? That's didn't happen. You got to get with the right crew. If you with Hezbollah, you with the right crew. If you're with the Islamic Republic, you with the right crew. If you with Saudi Arabia and all them bums, you with the wrong crew. That's the rich Arabs killing the poorest Arabs in the world, right? And ain't nobody saying nothing. We're not like that. And all our team is winning. Even people that were oppressive, they had it so hard, but, Syria, we was always against Hafiz Assad and his son, whoever he's there now. But if the Zionists keep Golan Heights, if the white hats, like this last guy got killed, this so-called terrorist, they said the white hat said, I said the white hat's good. You know it ain't no good, right? You know they're lying. The white hats, good God Almighty. They should just call them the police. But anyway, I'm just saying, all of our associates under the gun, just like we are. Iran is under the gun. Of course, there's a mean old Shias, right? And who's against them? Saudi Arabia. Syria is under the gun. Look what they did to Iraq. They destroy our countries and it ain't nothing. Abu Ghraib, all that, right? They do what they want. And nobody says that mean old American, he killed and used depleted uranium and babies in Iraq are coming out with 2 heads and 3 arms, right? Depleted uranium. Destroying a whole generation. Nobody says nothing. And then they kill this bum, whoever he was. Whoever they killed the other day, that was the police. And it was they police. They wouldn't kill their own agent. Well, who else would they kill then? That's boss man's thing. You want to get killed, join boss man. Soon as your use is up, boss man gonna finish off. I'm gonna move on. So this Imam Tufail Abdullah Command Center, Cultural Center, right next door. We're going to use all of our property. They thought we was going to sell it and get broke. But we're going to raise funds all around here. We're going to be at all the Eids, and we're not waiting till Eid, but we're going to hit people with flyers and everything for all the months leading up to that. So when they see us, it'll be like seeing their home folks. So that's what we're doing now. That's what a winter offensive is. We're going to fight in the spring, but we're preparing in the winter. And they never do that. They always, it's a spring offensive, right? So they have good, nice weather to fight in. And we ain't doing that. We choosing now and getting all the hard stuff. So if we got a car that won't start, we'll just ride the subway. Don't make no difference. It's the 15th one that won't start at 20, it's more like 30. Well, as soon as somebody buy one of our cars, vroom, 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 off it go. That's mean old boss man. That's boss man trying to test you on everything. And once you get the game, boss man is weak and stupid. I'm going to say it again so you understand. There comes a period in history where you go into a decline. The United States of America is going into a decline. No, it ain't going into nothing. That boy, he might be, I don't know how close he is to the bottom. Right now, the United States haven't even won a war since World War II. Tell the truth. Got stuck in Korea, lost in Vietnam. All of those killings and murders during all the Gulf Wars and all that stuff. He ain't won nothing. This fool is still trying to figure out how to get out. He go into Afghanistan. We'll go in, and they drop daisy cutters. You know, daisy cutters, the biggest subatomic bomb that they got. They got to drop it in a parachute. You've probably never seen it. 20,000 tons. The light ones is 15,000 tons. They drop it in a big parachute. It blows up so much that it sucks all the oxygen out, so it collapses your lungs. Afghanistan is still there. Afghanistan whooped them, and they told them Afghanistan is an empire, is a graveyard of empires, boss man. Why would you go there? When Russia went in, they came out. I mean, when the Soviet Union went in, they came out as Russia. You want to go into that? The Greeks, Alexander the Great, went in. The British at Khyber Pass got whooped in 1854. Why would you want it? Boss man. That's what he said, didn't he? He went on in there. And the last 2 weeks ago, well, a few months, boss man was running so bad it made you sad, right? And do he go and help his stooges that helped him? That's why if you're a stooge, that's what he's going to do you. And they didn't say this last week, we've been telling you. Get off of boss man's team. Get on the winning team. It don't look like it, but that's what's going to have it win. Don't get on boss man's team. If you do, boss man going to cut your throat. If you get up close to him or stay behind him where he can't see you or feel you. You know what I mean? Because if he can feel you, if he got to dump somebody overboard, who he going to throw? Himself? No, he's going to throw you and your children and everybody overboard. I'm going to try to speed up right here. Strategic alliances. What did we say years ago? Archivists, documentalists, chroniclers, historians, historicize. Islamic Institute, for counter-Zionist American psychological warfare. That's years old. That's old. Ah, man, it's over 10 years old. Imam Jamil, our friend. Everybody's forgotten him. We haven't forgotten him. We're going to do what we can. But Imam Jamil was surrounded too, like everybody. And that's why nobody do anything. I hate to say it, but they're all the police. And guess what? He knew it too. He told me in 1983. I said, man, you got such a beautiful community here, and da-da-da-da. He said, they're not with me. That's what he said in 83. But he knew the rules. You can't speak up in America and think you're going to just have a free ride. So in closing, dear believers, we got a long way to go. You don't know how long because, Allah don't give you that information. It don't look like it's going to be that far away. I don't think the earth could last too much longer, right? Tell the truth. And this fitna and stuff that's happening in the environment, the plastic in the ocean, fish are dying because they underfed. You know why? They eating plastic and they feel full and they dying. They probably said, man, I don't know what this is going on out here. So, dear believers, we want you to be a part of this. When you look at us now, you'll think this is the emptiest masjid in America. And it's only half true. But do you want to be sitting up out there in those masajid and it's full and everybody in there is shaking like a leaf on it, scared to death? Is that where you want to go? We're going over there. But would you rather be here where there's a semi-interpretation of realpolitik, Islam real, the real Islam, right in front of your face? Well, Allah, we seek thy refuge from anxiety and grief. We seek thy refuge from lack of strength and laziness. We seek thy refuge from cowardice and niggardliness. And we seek thy refuge from being overpowered by debt and the oppression of men. O Allah, suffice us with what is lawful. Keep from us what is prohibited. With thy grace, make us free from want of what is besides thee. Ameen. Iqamat as-salat.